Good morning, Dr. Molin. My name is India Shank, and today I will be presenting my research paper, which is based on diversity in project management. Our meeting agenda is as follows. First, we will be discussing the introduction and the history, so basically the backstory as to why I decided to talk about diversity in project management and why it's important. We'll be discussing the literature review, which goes into detail why diversity is important to project management and global projects. Then we will be going into the methodology, so discussing some theoretical framework on how diversity can help project managers, and also we'll be discussing the results from the methodology that I have chosen, and then we will be discussing conclusion and future research that could be beneficial to this topic. Going into my biography, once again, I just want to introduce myself and tell you all a little bit more about myself. So my name is India Shank. I am currently a graduate student for the MSIT program. I also received my bachelor's in social work at North Carolina A&T State University as well. I graduated in year 2018. So far with my work experience, I've been in the military for 4 years. I did a special program called CSPA. Spent 2 years enlisted while I was in school, getting my bachelor's. And then the other 2 years, I was an officer in the Coast Guard. Now, currently, I work at Amazon as an area manager. And I have future plans, hopefully, to work for Amazon Web Services. Moving forward, the reason why I chose this topic because I am genuinely interested in project managers for this paper is as stated. If project managers become cognizant of cultural diversities by understanding situations globally instead of locally, it will facilitate more efficient planning and effectiveness because diverse interpersonal relationships were developed. Now that projects are going globally, it's kind of forcing project managers to find a new innovative way to lead their teams, such as one thing, instead of having like in-person meetings, a lot of the meetings are held through webcam and at unruly hours of the night, depending on where your other counterparts are residing at. For example, I could be a project manager and I could have a team of 3 people here with me in the United States, and the rest of my team could possibly be working in a place like China. So we will have to find innovative and new ways to basically communicate with the team and effectively get goals done in order to have a successful project and it not be affected by diversity in a bad way. So that's what I mean kind of by like avoiding cultural biases. So there has to be some type of fair way for everybody to deliver the deliverables that are required in the project. So McKinsey Diversity conducted a study that basically shows the correlation between diversity and financial performance. So we had 366 companies basically used in a study to show the different percentages of the financial returns with diversity. So companies in the top quartile for gender diversity were 15% more likely to have financial returns that were above their national industry median, as well as companies in the top quartile for racial and ethnic diversity were 35% more likely to have a financial return above their national industry median. This basically indicates that companies who commit more to diversity tend to be more successful. A lot of people will ask, how do we as project managers get to the point of having a well-run team? This all goes hand in hand with your project manager accurately managing diversity. So some key results that diversity has demonstrated as benefits to a team are expanding talent source pool, strengthening customer orientation, increasing employee satisfaction, improving decision-making skills, and enhancing the company's reputation. So starting with expanding talent source pool. So what this means is when you accept diversity into your team, there is a wider range of knowledge. So this helps bring those innovative ideas to your team that per se you didn't think of, that maybe somebody from a different country or a different age range is thinking about and can bring to your attention. So multiple educational backgrounds are competitive to top tier companies to ensure the evolving door of learning. Moving on to strengthening customer orientation. So understanding the group of consumers to cater your product to is very important. I don't think you could accurately propose a product to a certain group of people if they don't have representation on your team. So that is very important because they can bring to your attention the things that you were not aware of. So yeah, that strengthening customer orientation is very important. Increasing employee satisfaction. So making sure that your team feels good and is comfortable is very important because that has a direct line on whether your project will be successful or not. So building those interpersonal relationships are very important. Also, when you build interpersonal relationships, communication is very important for that to happen. That communication basically facilitates the trust within your team, and when you have trust, you'll be able to better manage and delegate tasks to your team. Improving decision-making skills. So this kind of goes with expanding talent source pool because it also brings that those new innovative, creative ideologies that possibly you were not able to think of. Also, it brings the ability to improve in areas of weaknesses. So having a diverse team, basically you can have somebody that is strong in one subject, and you have somebody else that is not quite strong in one subject. They can basically help each other and help bring them up to speed. So it's a good chance for everybody's knowledge to increase. And those different educational backgrounds and experiences help facilitate a competitive spirit, which helps the progress of the project. Enhancing company image. So some companies in America are required to have a certain percentage of diversity, but I believe that companies now are well aware of the benefits that diversity can bring to their company. A lot of companies like Amazon and Cisco are using intuitive groups to promote and educate their workplace. So I currently work at Amazon, and we have a group called BEN. It's for Black professionals, and it's not just for Black people, African American people. It's also for people from all types of races to kind of have that chance to come in and experience what we're experiencing in everyday life, and it creates and fosters a better workplace, more comfortability, and when you're comfortable, you're better at learning and being a better team player. So when companies show their support for diversity, it does increase trust and productivity in the workplace. So diversity is very complex and multidimensional. It's a lot of things that can go into how diversity can be properly managed, or what to do with a group of diverse individuals. But diversity can be measured, and the way that it can be measured is by the 4-factor model of cultural intelligence. So we have motivational CQ, cognitive CQ, metacognitive CQ, and behavioral CQ. So motivational CQ is the drive to explore and understand culture. So a person has to want to be able to understand the people that are on their team. Working at Amazon, we are very diverse building, and one of my counterparts, he is from Pakistan, and there are cultural differences that we do face, but I have the drive to kind of understand his culture rather than just judging, because I know it's not necessarily anything that is against me. I may just not understand. So I have that willingness to want to understand his culture and him. We have cognitive CQ, the ability to attain appropriate cultural knowledge in order to engage other cultures. So this is very important because coming from different cultures, there are some things, like I said, that I don't understand, that are possibly does not make sense to me. That makes all the sense to somebody from another culture. So just having that knowledge to know that y'all are two different people experiencing two different things with two different educational backgrounds is beneficial. As well as metacognitive CQ, the ability to demonstrate strategic thinking and planning in order to engage other cultures. So it is very important being on a team to kind of know everybody's weaknesses and strengths. You'll be able to play off on that for the project success. Behavioral CQ, the capability to demonstrate verbal and nonverbal behaviors while crossing different cultures. So it is basically important to just, kind of study and get to know your counterparts on your team, kind of what they like, what they don't like, what's offensive to them and what's not offensive. Taking this extra step could go a long way, especially to avoid those cultural biases that could possibly be detrimental to the team success. Moving on to methodology, the article I chose to focus on is the role of diversity in organizational resilience, a theoretical framework. So this study used qualitative data from 11 people in an interview setting from professional senior leaders. This data is secondary data and has been compared to the theoretical framework that compares diversity to resilience. This theoretical framework has been broken down into 6 phases. So the first part of the theoretical framework that I'll be talking about that can be seen on slide 6 is anticipation capabilities. So anticipation capabilities is basically the preventative stage of resilience. When you add diversity, it basically comes down into observation, identification, and preparation on how to solve the issue. One senior leader has stated, diversity improves the proactive development of innovations and new products. This helps organizations to be successful in the long term and thereby contributes to resilience. So diversity is very important in the anticipation phase because it can help facilitate those ideas on how to maneuver against an issue fastly and accurately. Coping capabilities. So this basically is the reactive part of the framework. So basically it goes down into sense making and your problem solving capabilities. One senior leader said, different experiences, ideas, and tools in crisis management is advantageous during the coping stage. For this, however, you need many different thinking people to come together with their experiences quickly and creatively and propose the right solutions. And I believe this might make the reconciliation process more difficult the more people who are involved in decisions. So this is why it is very important for managers, project managers, to accurately and efficiently manage diversity, because when it's not properly managed, it can be a huge problem. But when it is properly managed, it can be very advantageous. Moving on to adaptation capabilities. So this is the part of the process where reflection and learning from any mistakes or things that you did good come into play. So reflecting on past crises are very valuable in order to move forward and plan effectively for the next issue that can possibly come up. Moving on to diversity culture. So it is important for project managers to promote diversity and culture, especially being in a global project. Everybody should feel comfortable with their background that they came from, whether it's a cultural difference, an age difference, an educational difference, sexual orientation, diversity. There's a long list of what creates diversity. So developing those interpersonal relationships within the team are very important for project success. For phase 5 and 6, I combined unit conditions and leadership. Unit conditions consist of time, composition, and coordination. And the reason why I combined these 2 phases into one is because I believe that you cannot manage time, composition, and coordination without proper leadership. Leaders must be open to different personalities and backgrounds to create a fruitful environment to where things are successful. So that goes into, spending time with your team, coordinating their strengths, and basically properly managing their strengths and their weaknesses, teaming them up with people who are very comfortable in one topic, who can train and develop another person in another topic, so you can be a well-rounded team. The results of this study basically come down to the fact that if your project manager is not effectively aware of cultural biases and not effectively, efficiently managing these diversities within the team, it can be detrimental to the overall project success. But if they are aware of those cultural biases and know how to delegate and have appreciation for diversity, and know how to properly manage a team full of diverse people, it can be advantageous. Yes, it will take a while to get to that goal, but the goal is an overwhelming success that it is worth managing those diverse groups of people to get to that goal. So this study was basically on research on qualitative data. I believe for future research, it will kind of be beneficial to have something that is measured in quantitative data, so actual numbers. I know there was a few research articles that did have some quantitative data, but not enough to really present in a research paper. So I believe if somebody conducted a study where we can have real solid numerical data to show the effects of diversity on project management teams, I think it would be very beneficial to see the numbers and how that plays out.